Do you know what happens to people who talk crap about my game?
It would actually be really easy for TTR to make a lot of good new content that would not take much from a programming aspect, but would really add a lot to the game and would get people excited, and I think would both excite the returning players as well as especially the casual players who you're trying to get to form long-term bonds with the game. My idea for how good new content could be easily made is essentially taking the concepts of Storm Cellbot that were used however many years ago by the original Disney team and extrapolating on those to allow for the same new user experience for the other HQs. So, for example, make it so that all the cogs in the CFO, CJ, or CEO are like maximum level 6, and then everything does less damage. So it allows those newer, lower level players, those who either haven't invested the time to grind to get to the HQs or just have never experienced it. It causes this new rush and wave of content where people are getting really excited. There's something new to do, new interactions. We have to study this and understand how it works and see what we're going to get from it. Opportunity to gather more rewards for like an experienced player, for reward collectors, and then you've also got the new incentives for the new players. The reason why this would be a very easy goal for the TTR team to do in relation to their other options for new content, things like making a new playground, new COG HQ, or any type of new world that they would have to build. The big advantage here is that all that would really have to be done at the base level is just change the stats of the levels of cogs that spawn in the coding and that whole distribution, and then change the damage that each of the CFO or CJ or whoever's attacks do. That amount of coding would be changing values in an existing, list of things that are created. So we're not having someone have to build something new. It's just going in and altering the values, assuming they can find out where they're located pretty easily. So from a programming point of view, it would be exceptionally simple to do. Basically, no new programming needed. Maybe the harder part is if you want to get an art team together and make some representative art. That could take some time if you're doing the 3D modeling stuff. I get that, but you also wouldn't need to do that much to release it. You could literally maybe just get 1 or 2 basic art pieces. Way easier than having to build even a single room for a world and throw that together. And then you could say that maybe it'd be a little bit harder if you're going to make some tasks associated with this. I agree that might add a little bit more work, but you could also just release it without the tasks and people would still probably have a blast and get hooked into the game. But if you wanted to even make those tasks, it would still be, again, a fraction of the work compared to making a new playground, but might have a very similar effect on boosting the player base's interest in the game, getting new people in, roping old people back in, that entire agenda. So obviously, even though this is a smaller project than the new world, it's still not something they could literally do overnight, but it would be my belief, and I guess maybe suggestion or idea, that this could be a series of steps for a blueprint or a plan to create new content that'll get a lot of people in, that you could get out in the cycle a lot quicker, so you know you're going to get a quicker return on your investment and really ramp people up. I think for sure you could say that anyone who has a little bit of interest in this game and kind of have a nostalgia factor, but is kind of sitting off the game because there's nothing new to do, you bring this out, even though it's not that difficult to create, and it's going to just hype everyone up for at least a period of time, give you more time to finish the world the way you want to. And obviously, this game is in a spot, if we're just being very real, there's not a lot of new people going in. The player base is just kind of slowly dwindling, at least the active player base, like the non-bots. But despite all of this, the goal of, I think, any update is to get people excited again. I think that's what you would call a successful update, when you raise your player base by times 2 and you get people talking about the game, invested in the game, streaming the game, making videos about it. You need to get that whole cycle going, and a change like the one described by me here, I think, would be the first step towards doing that if TTR doesn't want to just write off their game and, ride it out into the sunset without another update ever. A lot of the returning players are going to play this little mini update I proposed because it's something new and it gives them some type of change besides having the complete static world described in the current life of a 137 tune. Everything you're doing is an exact replica of something you've already done before. At least in this instance, you got some new variables. The game feels different, so it'll get those old players on, at least for a period of time, I think, more than most of the artistic updates that they do. But the real big, strong argument, in my opinion, for this is how many casual users will get into the game because they are able to skip those elements that are designed to be frustrating and make people spend a lot of money. But instead of those frustrating elements, you cut right to the good stuff, which can get someone soaked in to it and also get them collaborating with the higher laugh tunes and working together and forming bonds and feeling like equals. I think there's a lot of psychological components as to why this could definitely bring in a lot of people. And I know I'm like super overthinking this, so I don't really take what I'm saying seriously. I'm just bullshitting. But I do think that this update could add a lot of good things to the game, and it's my random, keyboard warrior proposal for something that might be cool to do. And that's about it. Thank you for watching this. If you're interested in more content, consider subscribing. And maybe you like the video if you want to give me an imaginary high five. And that's it. Thanks. Goodbye.